Dr. Fyre Jean Graveline is a two-spirit resilient survivor, a Métis grandmother, healer, artist, activist, educator within an Indigenous eco-arts-based lens. You can learn more about her through lifeasmedicine.ca. So welcome to the group, Fyre Jean. Many of you are familiar with her through Life as Medicine. I've been speaking a little bit about my journey with Life as Medicine the last couple of years. And Fyre Jean is an art therapist. And when she saw that I was doing this art creativity thing around fear, she volunteered to come in as an expressive arts therapist and do something really cool with us.
Beautiful. Thank you, Lynn. I guess I just want to acknowledge the beauty of the day and to take a moment to just notice our inhale. That we can just kind of relax a little bit. It's hard thinking about, heading into fear. And, Lynn has picked a tough topic for us, but, I think it's also something that's alive for most of us, that there are many things to feel fearful about. And so few of us learn strategies for, how do we get that fear out of our bodies? And so when we just keep containing our fear or our rage or our grief, it holds in our bodies and we can become sick from it. So as expressive arts therapists, we love to, of course, move, breathe, shake, dance, all of it, sing, use vocables. But today I'm just going to focus on a simple art therapy technique that we can use to land in our feelings or our fears, and then also to regulate them through the art at the same time. And so I got inspired when I was hearing about Lynn's thought to bring non-dominant hand coloring in. And so that's what we're going to do. We're going to do a version of that that's specifically designed to both help you release your fears and at the same time help you regulate them and produce a piece of art. Just to say a cautionary note, we're not trying to produce a product. We're not trying to produce an art piece. We're trying to work with our bodies, become more embodied, and then release that stress and tension, that fear, that anger, that grief that we have stored. And at the same time, we know, and I've lit a candle for us here today, at the same time, we know that whenever we try to head into grief or head into anger or head into fear, sometimes it can become overwhelming. And so how do we keep moving back and forth between expressing as much of our feeling as we feel comfortable to do, safe enough to do in the moment, and, bringing in the light or bringing in an energy that helps us reground and connect back to our inner core light, or I call it our heart spark. So we can always connect back in with that energy of spirit. So I'm going to try to do it as we do it together, but I've got markers and paper. I really prefer to have oil pastels and paper because then I can get in and, work with my fingers and smudge them around. But I'm just going to work with, and I want everyone to pick two colors to start. And one color is going to be whatever emotion that you're feeling you want to release. Maybe you want to release fear. That's our theme for today. But if you're not feeling so connected to fear or, don't really want to go there, maybe anger, maybe just stress, releasing stress if that's more comfortable. Grief, of course, is very high on many of our lists right now. And so pick a color that, you can connect to for that. And then pick a color that you love that would be for light, for your own inner light, maybe. Like sometimes I'll pick a lime green, especially in the winter when I'm really, waiting for spring, or when I'm inspired about the, sunset or the sunrise, like a golden orange light, maybe. And a lot of people in the meditation circles also work with the golden light. So, sometimes people want to bring that in, the golden light. Or we just got off a blue star, maybe the blue starlight. like a light blue, an uplifting blue, a silvery blue. So just take a moment. Sometimes people work with a pink or a purple, like really depending on. Pink is like the color they paint inner walls of places that are mental health centers because it's supposed to be the most soothing, remind us the most of our mother's womb, if that was a good experience. Not for all. So I'm just going to get 2 colors going here just to get us started. I can't even really see my colors here in this candlelight, but I'm going to go for these 2 for now. And because of the contrast. And so then I'm going to take my whatever color I want. Of those 2, I can take 1 in each hand. First, now that I've got my colors ready, I'm just going to take a moment to breathe on my inhale, bringing the color that I've chosen as my light into my body, and just swirling it around and getting myself more ready, getting myself to land more in my body with that color, with that light. And then on my exhale, I'm going to prepare myself to release that which I am letting go of, the emotion, the stress, the anger, the fear, the sadness. So just whatever. So on my inhale, I'm preparing myself by entering into my body sensations and by entering in with my breath, with my inhale. And I'm just going through with my inhale into my body, a longer inhale. And I'm just touching into what am I noticing where my stress is stored. And then I'm connecting with that. And I'm using my breath to exhale that anger, that fear out of my body with a deeper exhale. And so let's do that a couple of times. The color in, that is the light color with the in-breath, using it to light up whatever is dark in your body, whatever you've got stored there, wherever your harm or your stress or your fear is showing up. And then working with your exhale to let the color go. Now we're going to take our color light in, and we're going to take it to the areas that we most know that we're holding our fear, that we hold our stress. For me, it's my jaw, my neck. And as we bring that light in, we're just going to maybe crack those places, move them a little bit, my shoulders, just so that we know what is stiff and what is moving. And do we notice anything else as we move our body a little bit with that light? Is there anything now showing up as a place that we want to come more deeply into and release our energy from? And that's on the exhale. So inhaling the light to that place now, and I'm going to go right to my gut, hard as a rock. And then exhale that tension. And now I'm going to inhale my light to that spot. And I'm going to land in my gut. And instead of just exhaling through my breath, I'm going to now run that energy down my arm and into my color. And I'm going to move my color. If we feel comfortable, we can close our eyes so we're not worrying about how it's landing. We can move our color. And whenever we're ready, whenever we feel we have the motion that best describes that energy of stress or fear that we're holding in that place, we land it on our page and we just scribble it as fast or as slow in whatever way we want. Oh, just went off the page. That's totally good. And we just, now I'm kind of getting into just scribbling. Yes, just scribbling out that color, scribbling out that sensation, scribbling out that feeling of clenchedness from my belly. And I do that as long as I feel I want to, as long as I'm still okay with it. And I stop whenever I want. And you'll find that fairly soon you will slow down, even if it feels intense at first. It will start to dissipate. And then we're going to bring that light. We're going to breathe that into our bodies, into the space where we release that from. Because as we release our tension, as we release our fear, our grief, our anger, our worry, we make more spaciousness for the light to come in. And so then as we breathe in that light, we also breathe that light down our arm and have it land on the page. And how does that light want to flow? What? I'm finding my light is a lot slower than my scribble was. And I'm just circling around and circling around my place where I scribbled. And I realize I'm kind of getting into the ancient spiral here, which is a container of energy. And so we can bring the ancient symbols in. We can bring whatever we doodle in. We can bring whatever brings light in. We can bring that in to our creation now. And if we've been closing our eyes, we might want to open them and just have a look. What is creating? We're not trying to create something. We're just trying to use the color and the motion, tap into what is in our bodies already and wants releasing. And so we notice when we first look at our image, whatever we've created, our creation, let's call it, what comes up for us? And that may become a title. So if something comes up immediately, a few words come up immediately, you can just take this moment to, I call it streaming or flowing, just to write them down. Oh, that's my first impulse. That's what happened first when I looked. And then, because we want to be playful with our creation, so playful with our fear, more playful with our fear. Sometimes I like to play with fear, but more playful with our grief. Because play energy, we know, helps us reground and come back into the light. We all knew this as children. We forget as adults. So then we take our creation so far, and we had the paper in one position when we started, and we just playfully move it around, full circle. Ooh, what shows up as we do that? Oh, what is happening here? That's interesting. And after we've gone full circle, we make just a snap decision, just a quick decision. This is the way I feel most drawn to this piece right now. And so we take a moment to just be with our creation. And then we connect and ask ourselves, is there any other feeling that wants to come in? And so we might, pick another color. And we can either at this point, if that feeling feels intense and we want to go back to releasing, we can scribble back in again. Just again, using our light color, whatever we've chosen for that, back into our bodies. Where is that feeling showing up? We've got a color chosen. We just breathe that right through, whatever hand we're using for the process, whatever hand that color is in. And this is where we can move into the non-dominant hand if we want to, or we can still use whatever hand we started with. There's no right or wrong here. And then we can either land on the page scribbling with that energy, or we can just add it in. Along with this fear is anger. Along with this fear is grief. Along with this fear, if you picked a light color, is joy, is hope, right? So along with this fear is something, and I am going to add that by scribbling in, or I'm going to add that in some other way. Maybe I see something now in my piece, and I want to add the color there. Maybe I just don't want to scribble anymore. Maybe I just want to add into the open spaces that are remaining the color of whatever emotion, in whatever way I feel, inspired. And stopping whenever we're ready. And just waiting. Does my image, does this creation, is there anything else coming up for me? And now when I look at my piece, if I feel very, very activated, and I'm like, oh, I don't know, this is going too far, too fast for me. I don't want to do this anymore. I can just take a color that I like and I can box it. Just put a frame around it. I'm just going to do that just for fun. I don't feel too activated right now, but maybe some of you are. And so we can, just like the meditation technique of putting a frame around it to contain it, that's what we're just doing literally. We're putting a frame, and that's just like coloring a box all the way around our page, or certainly around our scribble, with a color that we like. Could be the energy color that we picked, or it could be something else. I'm like going in with a kind of a nice green, spring green, and unboxing mine. And then once unboxed, does it feel safer or safe enough now to continue with this creation? Or am I ready to just flip over my page and taking a color that is just soothing and an motion that is just pleasing? Could be waves, it could be spirals, it could be a heart, could be a bright sunny day, and just make that motion of that symbol with that pleasing color and ground. I'm doing spiral and pinky purple. And as we're doing that, we're conscious of slowing down our breath again. So maybe it started to get a little bit faster and more in the top of our chest when we were scribbling our fear. But now we're just taking time to settle again, taking our breath deeper down into our belly if we can. And if not, we can at least try to take it just into our chest and just see, can I deepen my breath just a little bit as I go back to what we call our safer space. It's that we can always go back to a safer space when we feel like the process that we've gotten ourselves into is a little more than we were ready for. And now that I have my safer space, looking fun, I'm ready to come back to, I can decide for myself, do I just want to end here on my safer space, or is something else coming up that I'm willing to look at? And if there is, I can return to the other side of my page and continue on with the process of just looking at it, turning it around in all the directions, deciding again, which way now that I have this frame around it, that I have this other color in it, which way do I feel most inspired to connect now? And you can take whatever color you want, whether you need to maybe bring more safety. You picked a color for your safe enough space. Maybe you're feeling safe enough to bring that back in now into your scribble, bringing it into your fear, bringing it into this original piece where we connected with I connected with my gut, but it could have been our jaw. I do a lot of clenching too. We all do in these fearful times. Could have been my fists. And if there still is some residual tension that we're wanting to work on, that we feel we have enough spaciousness, we feel safe enough still, we're grounded enough, we can still feel some fear coming up, we can also still go back in here into our scribble and add that. Or maybe we've scribbled our fear, we've added our anger, but now, our grief is still really present. And so often those three emotions are all tied up in our inner world. And so as we identify them each with a different color, and also bring them into a shared space, they are all shared in our lived reality of them. Maybe we have different names for them and different ways to either accept or reject them, depending on our conditioning, depending on our gender, depending on how deep our wounding goes, how multi-generational our ancestral wounding, the teachings they received for surviving. We have a lot of reasons, a lot of training to fear our emotions and to fear expressing them in any way. And so that becomes part of our fear. Fear that if we express our emotions, that we will be harmed. And so we're playing here with accepting our emotions in a playful way, moving in and out of expressing and connecting with our challenging emotions. And whenever needed, we can bring more light into the piece we're working on, and or just flipping over to the other side, which I'm going to do right now, and bringing more light, just focusing, landing again in that safer space where we're just here to flow. We're just here to land. We're just here to breathe. We're just taking a few more minutes to add either to your safe enough space image. My markers are really squeaking loud. Too much pressure again. And or your other image, your stress release image. And take a moment right now before we close this part to just stream a few words. Not to worry about capitalization or punctuation or what is the one right, might word I'm going to just, the perfect one to come up with. No, just whatever expresses, if any words if there are any words to express, and you can put those right on your page somewhere, or you can just put them on another page in a journal. You can write them into your safe space. Just how are you feeling now? I think we're at the half hour or over, so I'll turn it back over to you, Lynn.
That was beautiful. Thank you.
You're so welcome.
If you are interested in hearing Fyre Jean's answers to some of the questions from participants, please check the link below to tune into that. To connect with Dr. Fyre Jean Graveline, go to lifeasmedicine.ca.